So, a couple of replacement medkits. Man, did you see that back there? That was awesome! What was awesome? That fight with Tuffet was so cool. Nothing we did could hurt it at all. Just imagine, if I can someday tap into that kind of power, I'd be unstoppable. And then, the way that woman just, snuffed him out, she could have only do that because she was originally from another plane. I'm a natural-born dwarf, ain't nobody gonna snuff me out. I could be a prettier, friendlier, unstoppable version of Tuffet. No. 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 This is a very fantastical world with all kinds of spirit creatures and monsters and things like that. Just because you gain immunity over some, let's say, lesser creatures or any kind of a real creature does not mean you're invulnerable, and if you abuse that invulnerability, so sooner or later someone who has no problem hurting you is gonna take notice and is going to basically, well, going to hold you responsible for your mad power tripping. Nothing could stand against us. Yep, with my limitless control over the boundless power of untamed flame and your, whatever it is you do, we'd make a great team. Thanks for indulging me. I know that we probably won't survive this fight, and I'll never be able to achieve that kind of mastery I want. But I have to dream and believe that there's a bright future ahead. Now let's try and make it happen. Everyone wants to talk to me at the moment because we're not in a hurry or anything. Reminds me of Baldur's Gate series, Baldur's Gate 2, where certain events are timed. So they happen. Certain discussions happen at very inconvenient times. Well, I should have expected that it would end like this. Cut off from my home, hunted like a wild animal by my so-called kin. Still, we've had a good run. Have you been keeping track of how many you've killed? I've managed to bring down at least a dozen just since we ran in here. Yeah. Thanks for remaining by my side. Thank you for allowing me here. Lesser man would have been worried that I was such a spy. Your trust means the world to me. In the big picture though, my death may be a good thing. I want everyone to know how many Calvary elves fought and died resisting Terran Gyra's invasion. I never thought of myself as a martyr. Perhaps I can be a message. We elves who care every bit as deeply for this land as the humans do, and we can be trusted to do what's right. It was too sentimental, wasn't it? Never mind. I'll fight her until my dying breath, and hope that our sacrifice does not go unnoticed. Okay, which direction are we supposed to be going? It's hard to say. I guess that's where we came from. I can't see shit. A most ignominious end. It looks like, despite our best efforts, we shall perish deep within the earth. Terran Gyre shall win the day. The state of California shall lose her freedom. There's still hope. We're not dead yet. While we may be doomed, we can at least choose the manner of our passing. Let us claim our place in history, and let the world know that California did not pass lightly. For freedom, for empire, forward! Ooh. Typical low-level beasties. Well, basilisks, scorpions. I don't see anything too troublesome here. They're not easy or anything, but something we should be able to kill them. The ley lines are not too important. The best ones are fairly significant, but they're not worth risking good tactical positions to gain. They boost your spells a little bit, but not that much. Spirits we could summon. No. We're petrified. Yep. Get fire was actually a very good idea. Didn't think they'd stop, but they did. Piece cake. This guy will not really benefit from standing here. I guess the cooldowns will go down, but that's about it. Suppose we can make sure that they're not gonna come through here. Medkits. You reach for the rope and are startled when the seemingly dead corpse begins to stir. I'm not quite dead yet, Drek. Jesus Christ. What happened to you? Turngeir happened, that's what. He coughs raggedly, spewing up blood. He doesn't seem to have much longer. I was on my way back up, and one of those bastards shot me. He didn't even think I was worth finishing off, just let me to crawl away and die alone down here. Do you see a woman run past here? Yes, I did. A momentary look of peace settles on his face. She knelt beside me and told me not to worry. She said that my wounds were mortal, but she would give me a gift, and somehow she did. I'm still dying, but I don't feel the pain anymore. I hope she can do that trick on herself.
She seemed like she was in awful pain herself, but she somehow managed to go down that pit. I'm not sure how. That fall would kill anyone.
Okay, can I have that rope?
What? So you can chase after that poor woman? How do I know you won't harm her?
He reaches out and grasps the coils, bringing them in closer to his chest.
I'll tell you what. We'll riddle for it. You might be a killer, but at least that way I'll know you're not a brute. We walk into a room. The room holds 3 pedestals. Each holds an artifact from the 4th world. A mighty sword that can slice through anything. A tome of ancient arcane knowledge. And a rod that can summon a powerful earth elemental. I grab the sword and say, on this day you will meet your death. But you grab to stop me.
Why a dying man like this? Would a dying man really give a shit about riddles? Some kind of a ghoul living in here might have been more appropriate. Someone who's not about to die. It just seems like a weird choice to me. Have a dying person here who wants to play riddles with you. Wonder what his angle is. I'll grab the rod.
Yes. Earth elemental can absorb the blows of the sword, dulling its force. I hope that my trust in you is not misplaced. 2 more riddles remain. Now imagine that we explore an ancient Egyptian tomb. I find an ancient scroll of papyrus, and claim that it shows the way into a hidden vault. You wish to claim the treasure for yourself. How do you accomplish this?
We explore an ancient Egyptian tomb. I find an ancient scroll of papyrus and claim that it shows the way into a hidden vault. You wish to claim the treasure for yourself. How do you accomplish this? I don't get the second option here. Okay, first is I threaten to cut up the scroll unless you share the secret. Second is I try to imprison you within the rock. Naturally, it's probably meant to say something else, not the rock. Because the rock doesn't make much sense. I'm imprisoning you within the tomb or something like that. That's what I'm assuming it's meaning. Unless it's referring to Alcatraz, but I sort of doubt that. Ancient Egyptian Alcatraz. I would see imprisoning in the rock to be the sensible choice. Covering up the scroll is a way if you want to share it, because no one can do it on its own. If I imprison the guy in the tomb, either he gets it or he'll basically take the risk. It's the only way for him to basically get out. then it's he does all the work and I'll get everything. He comes back. So imprisoned in the rock.
No,
He shakes his head sadly.
you are unfamiliar with resolving conflict peacefully. How can you resort to anything but violence?
Well, if you don't want me to, you said the point was to get the treasure for myself, not to fucking share it. Obviously the first choice is if you want to share the treasure. The point was to get it for myself. It means not sharing with others or making others have it. So how to ensure I get the treasure when he holds the key to getting it? We just slash the scroll, I still don't get the treasure. We get the treasure. If I need to get the treasure, I need to get rid of the competition, secure the knowledge for myself.
My time is over, but I have a friend who will stop you from following her. She must live no matter what.
Okay, whatever. I've just attacked the bastard at the start. What a waste of time. You hear tourist forces approaching. You don't have much longer until they catch up. What is that? Oh, you pick it up. Which direction can I even go? I can't see shit. Every place looks like a dead end to me. Correction, every place is a dead end. Yeah, it certainly looks like we're not moving forward here. Ah. I would have appreciated knowing where the fuck they happen to appear. I dislike this environment in general. There's so little light. I can barely see what the fuck am I doing. I don't understand the environment at all, really. This is no good. It's one of those things. Yeah, I know it's a dark tunnel. It's supposed to be dark, but again, if I can't see shit, it's too dark. It's like watching a movie that's happening in the dark or during nighttime. You can have well-made movie where you can clearly see all the action what's happening, and you doesn't have to be pitch black. If it's the point where you can't see the action anymore, it's it's too much. Could be the fog here. There certainly is some kind of fog effect here. Maybe it brings the visibility down. But it's black, dark gray, and light gray. That's what I see. Do not like. Yeah, we've got to get out of here. No shit. Can we try shooting the walls? Well, can we? In theory, we probably can, but I can't see it. Oh, maybe I can save. Easily load after. How do you target that shit? Ah. Where is it? This? No, it's a movement. Fuck, who the hell sees it? Yeah, I can't target it anymore. There it is. Let's go. See if I can get a barrier going here. Probably going to run after us for a while, but the barrier should at least make them think twice. And use the shaman to put additional barriers there. They won't stop them, they'll at least delay them quite a bit. Okay, where to next? Another wall to break through. You're not gonna stand here and fight. That's guaranteed. The wait of time. Put more fireball here. Air barrier. Huh? No. Let's run. Excellent. Now, we're basically. Who are you? sure, Captain. Going to type dump new fire on this constantly. They should move about the same amount as the guys who are dumping extra walls here, barriers. So we should be able to maintain our distance. Getting very close. At the same time, if they get close in that condition, we can just put a bullet in them and that's the end of it. Summon a spirit here. Yes, definitely. Do it. Earth spirit. Of decent strength. This can basically make sure we're not followed. Oh fuck. That doesn't make much of a difference. Okay, don't lose control of this in the first turn. Excellent. All you need to do is delay. And that's actually a fairly good delay. His strikes take out action points. Okay, where was the target? Seriously? An interesting situation though. Same endless enemies coming your way, but done a bit differently, and so it's a much more interesting situation immediately. Yeah, they can send new people after us, won't make much of a difference. We're going to try to get this one to lose control, doesn't matter in the slightest. Maybe we can drive them back a bit. Okay. Trying to find our next wall to break. Protect Tabitha. Keep her safe a little bit longer. Sure, why not? Might as well try to disable any followers. Again, just put up more walls. One of the interesting sort of tactics, I guess, I never tried it, would be exactly this, use of walls. There's quite a few types. I think there's air, lightning, fire, and hell fire at least. And they do stack. So you could potentially create a conjurer of some sort that basically uses walls to fight enemies. It does require you to have a little bit of free movement. So it's not exactly the best tactic ever, but how the AI really performs here, it could be very useful. Drive this crazy. Still staying under control, but there's also already 30% chance we'll lose control of it. Excellent. Doing very well. The fact that we ran here as quickly as possible seemed to be working for us quite well. Much we can do. Not a bad thing. With any luck, we don't even have to fight against the elves. Ew. Don't make... Actually, a support character here might be a good choice. There's no direct line of fire. It means his power will increase a little bit, but the best thing about the strongest ley line is that it reduces cooldowns. So it will work well with the support character, I think. There's 56% chance of escape. Yep, lost control. Yeah, it's still there, causing havoc. take at least a couple of turns before they reach us, even if the elemental was defeated immediately. Or earth spirits. Oops. Now they're arriving. Excellent. Okay, the mage is in a very bad place. The other guys don't have a line of fire on it. Ah, shit. Go back a little bit. Maybe use that one. No. Okay, take him out. That's better. I'm guessing they stopped spawning new enemies or something. Lothar. I am impressed that you still stand. However, this is the end. The Council of Princes will not be mocked. Make your peace with one another. The time has come to die. No. No. There shall be no more death today. Oh. Are you... Hestabay? Enough! The telepathic words of the great dragon reverberate through your skull. You have wrought too much destruction already.
You fight for that which is not yours. You who have more than anyone else. Your greed knows no bounds and cannot be sated. But it is not enough for you to own everything. You crush those around you, inflict pain, make enemies and bring them to ruin. I'm sure we can come to some arrangement. These are my terms. Return to your council of princes and give them this message. This land is under my protection. Their armies are not to set foot on Mount Shasta or any point south.
The great dragon's eye swivels in your direction.
Bull, you speak for the people of California. One day your nation will rise again. When that happens, you will not seek vengeance on Tyr. Your armies will not step any further north than the city of Reading.
It will be as you say. Her gaze returns to Hans.
Take your survivors and go. Remember that on this day I gave you your life. As you command.
Hans bows deeply, hesitates for a moment, then carefully chooses his words. I trust that we will meet again, and under more auspicious circumstances. New Order. Tyrturngar's enormous army marches back north, abandoning their seemingly inevitable conquest of Calfree in the blink of an eye. Their power may be unrivaled among the nations, but Tyr knows better than to tangle with a dragon. In the coming hours, curious visitors from Reading make their way down into the caverns. The trickle becomes a flood, as word spreads about the majesty of the dragon. Hesta beholds court, providing counsel and wisdom in the time before she departs for Mount Shasta. Has it all come to this? You can hardly believe that the nightmare of endless war has ended almost before it began. You resolve to take stock of the situation and figure out exactly what the dragon's presence will mean for you and your city. I'm not fully aware of what a dragon is in the world of Shadowrun. I know it's not in typical fantasy and in D&D too, mostly because of the incompetence of the game masters, I think. Dragons are treated as just basically a typical Hollywood monster. It's the one enemy that every hero group wants to defeat because it's a dragon. However, they're not really treated as dragons should be, even there. But in Shadowrun, it's in my understanding that dragons are something more, much more. You basically, it's pretty much impossible for a mortal being to try to kill a dragon. It's not a Skyrim dragon or anything like that. It's not even D&D dragons. If basically if you are have to fight a dragon, you will lose. I think there's some chance of killing its mortal shell, but it doesn't kill the dragon. It's just a temporary victory in that sense. However, even in D&D, dragons have people have stats, and dragon stats are usually in certain areas far above human. So it's not like it's a monster that roars and then you have a fight. It should be treated like a genius. even a super genius. It has massive combat capabilities, rivaling the best warriors in the land, probably greater. It's a super genius. It has a massive spell casting capabilities. So, but yeah, it's shame to see them to usually be treated as basically a boss monster that doesn't do anything special. They're not smart. They're not played smart in any way. That's I guess the biggest complaint. When you look at the stats and how you usually encounter them, there's a large discrepancy there. Like here we have a highly trained army that no one uses cover, and they behavioral AI is retarded. That's how usually dragons are played. They fight in a totally retarded way and are not intelligent in any way. I have never really seen, well, not never, but very rarely seen dragon played in in a way I think they should be played. Basically, they usually get killed easily because the game master fucks up, or the game is designed for you to defeat them. They basically don't use all of their abilities and means. They don't act intelligently, and that's why you defeat them. But in Shadowrun, I guess it's a openly known fact or common fact that no one even tried to fight. When the dragon popped up, it's basically it was all over the moment it happened. The problem I have with this is it's not really. I don't know. I can't say for certain about that. That's my impression, and it didn't come from playing Shadowrun. It came from reading the source materials outside these games. That's my main complaint. Is that it should have been part of it. You should have made the player understand what a dragon is, what it means to have such a creature pop up suddenly. Because if your experience is from standard fantasy, this seems absolutely ridiculous. It makes no sense. Celine, can you hear her? All of us in Reading heard the edicts she delivered to Tyr, and we rejoiced at our improbable salvation. Since then, she has spoken with many of us individually, describing her goals for this area. Uh, what are those goals? She has wandered far and seen much that pained her: destruction of the environment, mistreatment of metahumans, the carnage of war. She wishes to do what she can to blunt the hatred between people, to begin repairing the damage done to the land. What will you do next? Many have been called to join her in Mount Shasta. My place remains in Reading, though. I heard from Rick that several other California Rangers and what? I heard from Rick and several other California Rangers, and we are planning to move up. I heard from. Um, okay. I guess it's a way of saying something that they got in contact with you. Okay. I heard from Rick and several other California Rangers, and we are planning to move the headquarters for the Rangers from Sacramento up to Reading. Sacramento is hopelessly corrupt, and in the shadows of the Dragon's Wings, Reading will be the safest place in Cal-Free. Yeah, thanks for your service. Oh, it has been a pleasure working with you, sir. At first I thought it would be boring to stack boxes and take inventory all day. You built something really remarkable in Reading, though. If it lasts, I want to remain by your side and help turn it into the best city in Calfrey. Well, isn't that charming? Thomas. Way to go, Bull. Thomas embraces you, enthusiastically pounding your back. I can't believe you did it. Things looked really bad for a while there. I was convinced that every single one of us was going to die. Just thinking about that. All the widows and orphans I'd be responsible for creating. But somehow you and that big dragon there did the impossible. How did you know about her anyways? Did you plan this all along? Yes, it was all part of the plan. I'm not too surprised, but at the same time, yep, I didn't know exactly what was going to happen. I had a feeling someone would save the day. You must be an optimistic man. I saw only clouds and darkness. You somehow expected that ray of light. Anyways, I should get back to town. I just wanted to see that creature for myself. Okay, what's the damage like in Reading? Amazingly, mostly intact. It is mostly intact. You were able to draw most of their advanced forces to the dam, and their elite commandos all chased you down into the caves here. We caught some long-range mortar fire and lost good soldiers, but the dragon ended the fighting before their main force could reach our perimeter. Okay, plans for the future. It sounds like we won't need this army much longer. Under Hestaby's protection, we should be free from territorial aggression, whether by tier or cow-free. I'll muster the troops over the next few days, make sure everyone's paid and taken care of. I'll also need to contact the next of kin of those who didn't make it. After that, well, if you'll still have me, I'll happily support whatever project you might have in mind for Reading. When the shopkeepers are here. This is incredible. Just amazing. She's so beautiful. I can already tell that she's kind and wise and powerful. She's what I've been looking for all my life. She might be controlling your mind. Uh, she certainly saved the day. I heard, and she did it without even lifting a claw. Remarkable. We have you to thank for this. From what I understand, you were the one who saved her life when she was vulnerable in her human form. If it wasn't for your timely action, she would have perished, and all of us with her. Now, if you'll excuse me, I wish to commune with the great dragon. I have finally found the purpose of my life. Found the purpose in my life. I will serve her and fulfill her mission, bringing harmony to Shasta and eventually the world. Good luck with that. Well, will you look at that? A giant flapping dragon. I guess I've seen everything now. It was a shame about the war, though. I thought it was going to make me rich. Now I've got an enormous arsenal of firepower and no customers. Cheer up, maybe Aztlan will invade Calfree again. Yeah, you're right. There's always gonna be a war. If not that, then maybe Saito will march on Sacramento. Or I can always try to inflame tension with Pueblo. This is just a setback, not a defeat. Well, looks like I'll be moving on soon. It's been a pleasure, Bull. Thanks for saving Calvary and all that jazz. Next time, though, try not to cut so deeply into my profit margin. Elorn. I never ever ever would have thought that this mission would end this way. I mean, a dragon here? That's crazy enough. And that dragon actually stops the fighting instead of devouring everyone in its path. Now I've seen it all. There's nothing left to be surprised by. I'm guessing people who are familiar with the dragons, I mean the named ones, know what they represent, what kind of beings they are gonna get more out of this. To me, they're just names. I got no understanding of them. Hmm. Yeah, and it showed up just when I was about to kill Hans too. I almost think you would have too. You certainly had enough reason to. Anyways, this is hard for me, but I wanted to thank you for all that you've done. From the day you rescued me from the native Californians, though, through all the missions you run, and your role in defending my city, you've been the best ally I could have hoped for. Thanks for being you and being what you do. Will you stay in Reading? I think so, yes. It feels a bit strange. I've always thought of myself as one of Reading's defenders, the last line of resistance when terror invades. Now that the invasion is indefinitely postponed, I don't seem to have much of a purpose any longer. That said, I'm sure I can find work as a guard, or maybe even as a Shadowrunner. We'll see where the future takes us. Okay. What do you think of Hestaby? Well, what I think about her shouldn't matter much. It's more what she thinks about me. Let's face it, a dragon can affect an elf infinitely more than an elf can affect a dragon. That said, I'm stunned and delighted that she's here. For my entire life, I've been afraid of terror invading us, destroying our home and killing my family. And now, from out of nowhere, we have a bulwark, one of the most powerful beings on the planet, who, for some inexplicable reason, has decided to protect us. It's remarkable. Elorn clasps your forearm and stares earnestly into your eyes. Farewell, Bull. Know that you'll always be welcome in Reading, wherever your travels may take you. Horatio. Incredible. For once, Horatio seems deeply impressed by something. This dragon's going to be big, right? Like, seriously huge. And I'm here on the ground floor. Probably the first person in the thousand of years to lay eyes on this great dragon. I'm going to enjoy this before everyone else discovers her. I'm also pretty sure that dragons differ from area to area. I mean, I guess they sort of follow the mythology of different cultures and their dragons. So they're different in nature. Great dragon of the Western world will be different from the great dragon for Asia, for example. I wonder if the Shadowrun Returns Hong Kong will incorporate that somehow. We'll see. Maybe. We did it! Haley rushes towards you, wrapping her arms around your shoulders and burying her head in your chest. I was so worried, but you saw us through to the end. Yeah, you helped too, you know. Did she? Did she really? I suppose she did. She just wasn't part of the main team. Oh, all of us played our parts. The grunts, the support staff, and techie geeks like me. But you're the one who brought us all here and taught us to work together.
Everyone's been talking about that dragon. Still can't believe that she's just here, you know. Like, the first thing a Shadowrunner learns is to never make a deal with a dragon, but it seems like she's just trustworthy.
Have you heard her speak?
Not after the initial order to tear, no. I know a bunch of other people have been getting messages from her. I think I might be related to your essence. Magical types seem to be way more excited about her than people like me who are filled with chrome. I don't know, it's interesting.
Okay. Going back to San Francisco?
Yeah, soon. I kind of want to get a try bit of me with has to be first though. Would you mind taking a picture?
Sure.
Thanks, Bull. You're the best.
Haley strikes a pose next to Hestaby, who tactfully ignores her posturing. After capturing several appropriately dramatic shots, you return Haley's gear to her.
Anyways, this has been fun and all, but really makes me miss this city. There just aren't that many jack points out here, and I haven't felt all that useful. I've become one of the Cali's most valuable deckers, so I just want to keep on practicing my skills and getting more famous. You should definitely look me up the next time you're in town. Cali has been really successful in carving out more territory from Saito's grasp, and it's actually possible to relax and enjoy yourself again. If you ever need anything from there, just let me know. I can be your local connection.
What's your thoughts on this run?
Wow, it was crazy, hella scary, and really sad. I'm still kinda shocked that it turned out as well as it did. It felt like we were all doomed for a while there. Most important thing though is that you made the world a better place. I'm not just saying that, there's way fewer anti-metahuman supremacists running around. Colonel Sato has backed down, and oh yeah, there's that little war that you helped stop, saving millions of lives. You're incredible. I'm so glad that I got to help you out. This will be the most important Shadowrun of my entire life.
Yeah, take care.
You too, Bo. I'll let you chat with others here. Don't forget to pin me next time you visit San Francisco.
Ah. Torby gazes at the dragon's form in wide-eyed wonder.
She is so beautiful. It's not like any of the storybooks or tridios I've seen. So big and with such power.
She snaps out of her reverie and turns to face you, a wide grin blossoming over her face.
You did it. You did, well, everything. You helped save Reading, defend the dam, hold off damn near an entire army, and oh yeah, defied Ter's council princess and rescued a real-life dragon. I never would have thought that the man I nearly water-jacked on to 5 would rebalance the power structures in Calfrey. And she, well, I think she might be what I've been looking for. Dragons are the most powerful magical creatures in the world, and they're pretty famous for breathing fire. If I ask nicely, do you think she could teach me some tips? Maybe even give me better control of the fire inside me?
I think she'll gladly help you tame your talent.
Yeah, she's like millions of years old, right? I imagine lots of wisdom comes with those years. Hell, if I can just accidentally stop setting my companions on fire, I'll be happy enough. And after I'm done with this here dragon, what do you think comes next?
You'd make an excellent Shadowrunner.
You think so? I guess I never really thought about going off on my own like that. Maybe you're right though. My skills are certainly in high demand, and with a job like this on my resume, I can imagine the Johnsons lining up to recruit me. Oh, no big deal. I just helped defeat Church and Grier. And by the way, Hestaby owes me a favor. Yeah, I can see that. Torby drops into a white, ironic curtsy. Well, my liege, if you'll excuse me, I'm about to make a deal with the dragon. Until we meet again.
Hail, Bull. When we first recruited you to our cause in defending California against Tyr's aggression, we had hoped that your skills as a Shadowrunner would prove adequate for the task. In truth, we have learned you were better suited for this mission than we dared to dream. Any Shadowrunner can deal death. You are one of the rare who can bestow life. Your actions have saved an entire generation from suffering the horrors of another war, and perhaps broken the cycle of oppression and revenge that has so badly harmed relations between humans and metahumans. And so, by the power invested in us by ourselves, we hereby raise your station and grant you the honors you are due. Kneel, Lord Bull, and rise. Count Bull of Reading. We hereby grant you to you and to your progeny unto perpetuity, sovereignty over the city of Reading, which your actions have saved on this May 28th in the year of our Lord 2053. Rule her with wisdom and strength, that she may grow and prosper under your benevolence.
I thank my Emperor for this gracious gift.
And so the great chain continues. We trust, nay, we know that you will uphold your part in the chain and show your subjects the ideal to which they may strive. We may contact you from time to time as new crisis arrives that require our action. Know, however, that we now consider you a peer, and are worthy of overseeing our interests in this region. Go forth, and may all the people praise your name.
Is this dragon literally the same that is in Dragonfall? I'm sort of had that in the back of my head for a long time, but the image they chose for her human form looks different. It doesn't really matter. I don't understand the balance of power and relationship between the great dragons, so it doesn't really matter. And there's no connection to that storyline, so again, it doesn't matter. It just fits her personality. See, I mean, in my playthrough of it didn't come out because I basically killed her. I was having none of her shit, but it was found out by the Hans told us at the end of that game that she was a different type of a dragon, a gardener, while others are schemers and trying to control things. She was the one that just gardened the world, so she would be, her temperament would be compatible with this dragon. Do I know how to pick a winner or what? I knew that I'd chosen the right person to lead the defense against Tyrantern Gyre, and you didn't disappoint me. Yeah, I had a lot of help. True, but you were responsible for selecting and guiding most of the help. Their actions do you credit. I finally secured a full army from the Japanese megacorps and even an elite detail of marines from Colonel Saito's regular army. We marched here as soon as we heard that the invasion was starting, only to be turned back by Hestaby once we arrived. Colonel Saito is furious. I think he was hoping to repeat his San Francisco ploy. Take the excuse of defending against the Tyrantern Gyre incursion to move his troops into position, then continue the occupation indefinitely. History is shutting him down before he can even start, though. Megacorp seem relieved by the outcome. Their invasion would have been disastrous for their operations. Now they get to maintain the profitable status quo, and they didn't need to incur direct costs associated with fighting the invasion. They can write off their donations to you as in-kind deductions on a depreciated basis. Knowing them, they'll try to sign trade agreements with Hestaby and open up new markets in dragon-related goods. You've been a loyal ally and true friend to my superiors and myself throughout this long process. We'll never forget the debt we owe you. Corporate work is the most lucrative on the planet, and you'll be able to write your own ticket for the rest of your life. I'd love to stay and chat, but it's vital that I speak with Hestaby, determine what her presence means for Antumbra enterprises. Please finish chatting with whoever you need to speak with, then come join us and we'll find out what your future holds. Okay, talk to Hestaby. The Sixth World has grown rather jaded after decades of war, social upheaval and magical awakenings, and yet the entire globe seems to pause in surprise at the news trickling out of Calfree. Turngair, the great elven nation undefeated in battle, was abruptly stopped in its imminent conquest of its southern neighbor by the sudden appearance of the great dragon Hestaby. The copper dragon was unlike any the world had seen before. She appeared uninterested in the games of power and wealth played by other dragons, and instead focused her considerable talents on propagating peace, reversing ecological harm, and protecting metahumans from prejudice, while some would argue that she merely pursued a more subtle plan for domination. People of the Pacific Coast increasingly viewed her as a benevolent godmother. Witnesses to the shocking events at the Battle of Shastadan knew that Hestaby did not act alone. She received crucial and timely assistance from a former Shadowrunner who led Redding's militia in a desperate battle against Tyr's forces. The rich and powerful Japanese megacorps in San Francisco recognized the extraordinary talents of the Ranor, whose actions had saved their Calfree headquarters from likely annihilation. Mitsuhama's paramilitary contracting arm absorbed the surviving members of the militia and offered the runner a cushy, lucrative desk job at their arcology in San Francisco. My character would never accept that, not because of the position being bad, it's just not in his nature. In the years to come, a new equilibrium settled over the region. The megacorps continued to expand, keeping a wary eye on the dragon and taking advantage of their sudden salvation from the threat posed by Tyr. Eventually, the runner's name was lost to time, but few people from the shadows ever did so much to bend the course of history. And that's it. Yeah. What was the name? Again, Antumbra. Antumbra Saga. It's a compromise of several modules. I'm not quite sure where one module ends and as another begins because it's a complete campaign now. But my general opinion of this is a bit mixed. From the start, we sort of got into Reading, and to the end, I'd say this is a good module. But before that, it was sort of blah. There's nothing really notable in good or bad about it. It was just sort of, yeah, you play it through once and you probably never return to it. But it certainly picked up at the end of it.
well, almost half of the game, I guess, comprises of the fights, or preparing for the fight and the actual fight. Maybe not quite so much, at least a third, and yeah, that was solid. There's certainly problems, but these are not these kind of campaigns are not made by massive groups of people. That's not to excuse the problems, but it's just to set some kind of a basic level for your expectations. This could have been done better, and I'm pretty sure if the person at this point would redo the story, she could do a lot better, especially at the earlier parts of the campaign. I'm guessing there's few. I don't want to bitch about details because a lot of that is based on the engine and the general retardedness AI of the enemies. It might have something to do with the difficulty level. It's certainly too low for this. That could be because I also had basically a full group of characters that were very good at dishing out damage. So it might make, if you wouldn't have such a good combat character, it might have been more challenging. I still think this would have been a better experience too if I would have notched the difficulty one step up. But you never know until once you played it through at least a single time. So I guess some of my other complaints would be the puzzles for the most part are blah, they're weak. Simply, there's quite a few that are basically, it seems like the designer wanted to put a puzzle in the game or some kind of a non-combat related challenge for you to overcome, but they're really bleh for the most part. There's not much to them. Usually you have basically a couple of options. Either you have the etiquette, which allows you to basically move forward directly without too much fuss, or you have to go back a little bit and pick up some item or 3 items and then you can proceed just the same. So it just doesn't offer a lot of gameplay and options. It's there for the... I don't know why it's even there. I don't think the game would have been any worse if most of the puzzle section, or let's say non-combat problem solving sections, would have not been there. They're not well done. I can't say that about every problem, but that's what my impression is about most of them. I would not have missed them if they would have been gone. That effort could have gone into something else. I think they're just there because you do want to... I'm not quite sure how to put this. You need to have certain kind of a rhythm in a game. Even if you love action, it's like watching an action movie that's full on action from start to finish. It's actually very difficult to pull off well, because you get numbed very easily. You very easily run out of ideas, so you start repeating them. It's very tough to... This is a fairly long campaign, hours and hours and hours of gameplay, so it's very hard to have a game where you constantly feel like you're doing something different even though you're basically playing the same thing. A mark of a good game is usually if you can pull that off. Mass Effect 2 pulls that off fairly well. Half-Life 2 pulls that off fairly well. You can every time you think of a game that does that, you usually think of a game that is very, very well done. Your personal opinion of it doesn't really matter. It's a lot of effort and design has been put into the fact that you have constantly a little variations in the gameplay to keep interest up. And even combat sections that get repeated, there's something always, a little trick or something that makes it different. So that kind of pacing can be achieved through that way too. But here, I guess the problem-solving sections are supposed to sort of balance out so that you just don't constantly go from fight to a fight to a fight to a fight, so it doesn't get all that repetitive. I just don't think they were well done. But yeah, this isn't a bad module by any sense. I just think the first portion is weak. Not necessarily bad, but I played this through in a couple of days, so played this quite a lot in a short amount of time. And I can't remember what happened in the first third of the game. I just don't. It's very unforgettable nonsense. I can easily remember what happens in the last third, more or less. Maybe not all the details, but there's an things are happening there, and it's it all ties together, and it's interesting enough that you at least remember it. It has that something. So I would say that's the good portion, and it's a nice thing that it's at the end. So it leaves a very nice taste in your mouth about this this particular module. So I don't regret playing through it, but without the ending third, I would not play it again. Now, since the ending was very nicely done, I would probably not mind including this in some kind of a larger campaign, although it doesn't really work here. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna play more of these. Maybe. It depends on time. I can't say that I won't. I might want to play at least a second one, so I have something to compare it to. Maybe my opinion of the Antumbra saga will go up when I see what basically another custom content designer has managed to pull off. Maybe it'll go down, maybe it'll go up, I don't know. I don't intentionally intend to pick a weak one. I want another one that is a complete story from start to finish, and there's at least some support for it, so it's not just some random campaign that I've picked up from somewhere. It's something that's people have played it, it has feedback, positive feedback mostly. But again, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that or not.